Hello, everyone. Welcome to IT Tech Talk. I'm your host, Joel Ward. This is a show where I interview entrepreneurs, influencers, CEOs, and content creators. Today's guest is Nick. Nick is the founder and CEO of Silverdale Technology. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm really well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Had technical difficulty before the show, but everything's good now, so we were able to continue. Yeah, other than that, I'm great.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Good. So Nick, I have read up on you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What is Silverdale Technology and how did you get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you say, I'm the founder and CEO. I'm also the chief evangelist here at Silverdale. And how I got here is basically 35 years of working in both operations management, warehousing, logistics, manufacturing, as well as the technology space, working for companies like Amazon, Capgemini, as well as in consulting work. And really, that's all come together at Silverdale, which brings together a really unique balance and blend of operations experience as well as technical experience from ERP implementations around the world. And that's really why Silverdale exists.
So what is Silverdale? What does it do? What does
Yeah,
Silverdale do? I was kind of looking on the website, but I was a little confused. What
yeah,
do Silverdale do exactly?
yeah. So what we do is our vision as a company is to democratize ERP. And what
Okay.
that really means is giving access to world-class ERP systems to companies of any size. Traditionally, ERP is really only available for companies with at least tens of millions of dollars of revenue. And the reality is that a lot of those smaller companies, so these small entrepreneurs, the companies doing 1 million plus, really don't get access to the right
Mhm.
technology that helps them to grow and scale. And they're relegated, quite frankly, to working on Google Sheets and Excel spreadsheets, and it ends up holding them back. Our vision is really to give people access to the right systems and tools so that they can actually compete and build what they're really passionate about.
So I saw something on there, and I think I've actually, for some reason, I feel like it was in my email at one point. Odoo. What is Odoo? Is that what
Yeah,
is you're a consultant for Odoo? What does that mean?
yeah, absolutely. So Odoo is a full service package that is a very scalable, easy to use ERP system that covers everything from CRM to manufacturing, inventory, sales, website, you name it. It's in Odoo and really is designed to get companies out of a myriad of different systems. If you're anything like other companies, you've probably got at least 15 different logins you're using every day, whether it's
Yeah.
for Salesforce or for something else, and it's a nightmare, quite frankly, just tracking passwords. Never mind trying to run your business. And Odoo is a really convenient way of getting everything all in one place, and most importantly, maximizing the use of your data so that
Mhm.
your data only exists once in the system. So if you change an email address, for example, for a customer, that flows right through the entire system. So order acknowledgements or email marketing always go to the right person because the data only exists in one place once.
Okay. So I've heard of Odoo before. Do you just consult with them, or are you owner of the company of Odoo?
No, I'm not the owner of Odoo. I wish I was. They're doing really well. So we are an official partner of Odoo.
Okay.
We are approved by Odoo to do implementations of that system, and that's probably about 30% of our work. Quite frankly, as a company, is implementing Odoo. The rest of our work is working with clients on business process design and user and change management, and then coupled with the technical change by implementing Odoo, that's how we really democratize ERP.
So have you seen Odoo make great strides in and democratizing that system as far as like passwords and CRM and all that stuff? Have you seen it? I mean, I've heard of them. I've never used them, but I've heard that they do good work. What is your experience working with them has been decent?
Yeah, extremely positive. I've over the last 35 years, I've worked with all sorts of ERP systems,
Hmm.
Microsoft Dynamics to Oracle to SAP, and eventually found my way to Odoo a few years back. And quite frankly, the tool itself is pretty phenomenal. And I've effectively built my entire business around that ecosystem, and I'm very happy to do so. Quite frankly, the original intent was to extend ourselves into other ERP systems, but quite frankly, we haven't found anything that can rival the flexibility and coverage that Odoo has.
So for listeners of mine who don't know what ERP stands for, what does ERP stand for?
Well, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, right? But that doesn't mean anything either, right? So people know me. What is ERP? Now you say enterprise. Well, what is that? Okay. Well, so you just end up explaining it all again, right? Unless you're in the industry, it can be very confusing, and it feels a bit like a dark art, right? But the way I always explain about what we actually do is we're giving you a single source of truth, okay? And you can see what's going on with a customer right across that life cycle. You can see
Mhm.
there's what you've got in the CRM space. What opportunities are you working on? What sales orders do they have? What quotations do they have? They haven't accepted yet. How many invoices do they have outstanding? What do my financials look like today? Right?
Yeah.
I can run a P&L or a balance sheet in Odoo in real time. I'm not waiting for an import from another system or closing the month end in QuickBooks or something else. I'm able to go into Odoo at any point in the month and say, what does my P&L look like? And guess what? Because I can do that, I can
Mm.
make decisions today that affect my P&L this month. I'm not having to wait till the middle of December to
Yep.
find out what happened when I've got zero chance of doing anything about it.
So since you moved to this new system, since you worked with Udo versus the other ones, have you seen a better sales price with your clients? Like, like has the pricing been better than all these other companies? Like, as far as like for entrepreneurs like who want to get into something that's cost effective, has it been more cost effective than Microsoft and all these other companies?
Oh, 100%. We're talking about, Odoo recently just changed their pricing model and simplified it, enormously. So it's just over $50 now per user to get onto Odoo, and you get access to all the modules now for that single price. Now, if I was an entrepreneur and I was on my own, quite frankly, running my own company, I'd spend that $50 every single month because now I've got access to a world-class CRM, order management website, you name it, it's in there. And I'm not having to fork out, $20 here for this thing, $10 for this thing, $30 for this thing. If you added up just how much people spend on all these different subscriptions, the Odoo subscription is extremely good value for money.
So I actually have a question. I've been trying to figure out how to ask this. What does evangelist mean? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get words out. What does chief evangelist mean in a company?
Yeah. So what this means is that when I'm talking with either existing clients or prospective
Hmm.
new clients, right, my enthusiasm for not just the tool, but operating the tool within their business really shines through, right? I can see opportunities. I can see them,
Hmm.
growing 5, 10, 50x using the systems and processes that we put in place. I can get people enthusiastic about implementing an ERP system, which is really quite difficult to do, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Um, there's a horrible statistic out there that between 50 to 75% of all ERP projects fail to meet their original objectives. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a small company, and you're about to drop, 20, 30, $40,000 on
Yeah.
implementing a system, right? With only a 1 in 4 chance of it actually working, you're going to spend your money somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And it's my job really to make sure that we create processes and systems and tools that work in Odoo, but also making sure that we can get those into your company in a very low risk way. And that's really what Silverdale is all about.
So let's talk a little bit about Silverdale and the team at Silverdale. As you I'm assuming you have a good sized team, and your company is seeing good numbers this year. How is the overall feel? Is the team running? What's so how I want to ask this? How do you as you, I think I asked this away yesterday to the guy I had on yesterday. Your team that you brought in, they share the same. I'm assuming they share the same vision as you do. Who all works for you? Like, do you have like people in marketing? Do you have people like what does your team do? What's the size of your team? What do they do?
Yeah.
And do they all share the same vision as you do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We all share the same vision. Otherwise, Quite frankly, because we're doing things so differently
Hmm.
to all the other Odoo partners, and quite frankly, even some of the big consulting firms that do ERP implementations for for SAP or someone else, right? We
Hmm.
do things so differently here at Silverdale. If you didn't buy into the vision, you just wouldn't last.
Yeah.
We're not looking for the $50 million project or even the $5 million project. That doesn't interest me, quite frankly. I'll go let Accenture and let Capgemini and let those guys deal with all that, right?
Yeah.
I don't care about all that corporate BS, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
And RFPs and RFQs and all that nonsense, right? I'm not up for that, right? What I'm up for is working with companies who are much smaller in scale, who really are on the cusp of great things, right? But they're really struggling to get to that size and scale. So our team really is built around helping these clients and understanding, hey, they've seen this 10, 20, 30 times before with different clients,
Hmm.
sometimes in the same industry, sometimes in different industries. But what they get access to in my team is an access to world-class developers, quality assurance people, and consultants, as well as our sales and marketing people who really work with clients every single day in the real world. So where this technology really, hits the road with users in a warehouse, on a production line, out doing field service, or sitting in a call center. That's where the technology really comes to its own. And our consultants and our developers are really good at working with people in the real world. And as I say, we're not in the 9, 12 month project world. That's not what we
Yeah.
do. We help you to get it done. We get in, we get it done, and then we work with you. We approach every client as if we're going to be with them for the next 20 years. So this isn't a one and done exercise for us. We're going to be with you for the long term.
So, I want to touch on something you talked about just a few seconds ago about the clients you work with. You aren't after the big fish. You're after people who are literally just, running to get started in the entrepreneurial space. And that's really cool because, a lot of people only are out for the money, and you're out for just helping someone get their business going and reach their full potential. And that's really cool. I was actually getting ready to ask a question about that, and you answered it right then and there. So like, you going after that in your team, I feel like you would take on a client that's bigger, but you prefer the smaller clients. And that's great because, at the end of the day, the client seems to matter more to you and what they're doing than the money. So that's a really good thing to have.
Yeah,
So
the reality is, right, you look at our vision as a company to democratize ERP.
yeah.
There's only one number that matters to me, right? And that is the number of clients I have, right?
Mhm.
If I'm measuring my client base as 20s, 30s, 40s, I'm not democratizing ERP. I
No,
haven't,
you're
I
not.
haven't
Yeah.
democratized ERP outside my own small town, if that's the case, right? Like, I'm only interested in that number when it gets to the thousands, right? Because then I know I'm democratizing ERP. If it's just accessible to the companies with the 9 month project and the $150,000 price tag, I'm not democratizing anything.
So it says here you were born in Scotland. I thought I got an accent from you. When you travel, it says you travel a fair bit. When you travel around, do you do business different parts of the world, or like is what I'm trying to ask is your business strictly in the U.S. or do you have a lot of business outside the U.S.?
So we do have some business out of the US. What I would say
Okay.
is the US is our primary market. We do have customers in Europe, we have customers in Hong Kong, we have customers in Mexico, and a few
Okay.
customers in Canada. But the reality is that probably 70% of our business is in the US. But what we're doing isn't the way we work isn't unique to
Yeah.
the US market. Quite frankly, we've had enough opportunity in the US market that we hadn't had to focus outside the US, quite honestly. That'll come with as we grow in scale, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and as we look at different markets. But we find there's plenty of opportunity. Like, I could throw a stone from my front door here and probably hit 10 potential clients, and that's the same. So I really don't have any need to go outside the
So
US.
when you travel around the US, let's use the US for example, then when you travel around the US, and you see like I'm sure you meet a bunch of entrepreneurs in your like mixers or wherever you go. Do you see such a need for this like daily? I'm sure. Like you go around and you see these mixers and you meet people and they're like they talk to you. I'm sure if you're since you told me you're a chief evangelist, like so you were able to give them an opportunity to use something that other companies have stepped on their toes and been like, we can offer you this, but this is the price. And then you come in and you give it to them. So have you seen a need all across the U.S. for this? And when you go there, has people been more receptive to you than they are to other companies?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think our authenticity,
Hmm.
it really comes across. I've been there. I've worked in warehouses. I've worked on production lines. I've worked in manufacturing processes. I've worked in field service world. I can relate to what these entrepreneurs are trying to do, what these companies are trying to do. I can relate to the people that are on that shop floor and talk their language. Okay, and understand some of the issues that they're going to be having, and also take time to listen as to what their current pain points are. And then really it's about painting a picture of how good could this be. Imagine a world when you can wake up in the morning and during your first cup of coffee, you're going to check on your iPad and you're going to see exactly what were my sales yesterday versus this
Hmm.
time last month or last year. I can look at how many pending orders do I have to ship today to clients. I can look at what help tickets came in last night. And I can look at, what my opportunities are, my sales team are working on. Now, this isn't just painting a fictitious picture and getting people to buy into it. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, that's what I do every morning when I'm taking my first cup of coffee. I do exactly the same thing as these other entrepreneurs are not able to do, okay, because they haven't got the right technology behind them. And
Hmm.
quite frankly, they don't even realize it's there, right? And
Hmm.
it can be done in one place. And so, when I go right, I spent a third of my time in front of clients, right?
Hmm.
That's my target, and my goal is to always be a third of my time out in front of customers. Yesterday, I was traveling. I was with two customers yesterday. You know, you see the same things time and time again. They struggle to print labels. They struggle to receive product. They struggle to, get a single view of what's going on with this customer. They struggle with a P&L and a balance sheet, right? Guess
Hmm.
what? Everyone's struggling with the same darn things, right?
Yeah.
And whenever you talk to a consulting company, though, traditionally, it's like the first time they're hearing it. Oh, you want a P&L? What's that? Right? And that's incredibly frustrating for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs because well, actually, what we do is I say to you, hey, don't worry about how the P&L is created. We know how to do that. What are you worried about that for? Go focus out how you're going to sell your product, right? Don't worry about the sales. Don't worry about the invoicing, right? I've already got a process library of 150 business processes, right? Which, guess what? If you're going to do it that way, it's going to work in Odoo out of the box, right? And I'll tell you right now, most entrepreneurs will say, great, because that saves me focusing on that stuff. I can go focus on selling my product and getting my product right, without having to worry about some of the back end stuff, which quite frankly is, you just got to get through so you can
Hmm.
get to the exciting stuff.
So let's talk about the pitch. When you get these clients, like I'm sure you do like a dinner meeting or some kind of meeting or a Zoom call. When you're doing your pitch, what is your wow factor? What sells Udo for most people? What is their most selling point for Udo?
Yeah. So it's really a single source of truth, right? That's the number one thing.
Okay.
I can go to look at a contact within Odoo, and I can get a picture of everything that's going on with that customer, every interaction, every meeting, every call, every sales order, quotation, invoice, outstanding invoice, you name it, I can do it, right, from a single view. Okay. And if I go to another company and say, hey, how long would it take you, right, to go get a similar view in your
Yeah.
current system, to your Excel spreadsheets and your Salesforces and your goodness knows what else, right? How long would it take you to put this together? When I go on site with a client, it's the first thing I do. I go to my customer contact, I look at it, say, what we got going on with this company, right? What
Hmm.
help tickets have they got? What opportunities do we have outstanding? And I can get a single view. And then I can talk intelligently with that client. And one other point I just want to correct you on, though, right? My my number one sales pitch and the way that we win most business,
Yeah.
okay, is not on Skype calls, it's not on Zoom calls, it's not in
So you go for the personal call. You go
uh,
for the personal experience.
yeah, none of these darn PowerPoints that people are throwing around. Everyone, really, we haven't got over PowerPoint yet. Come on, folks, right?
Yeah.
My best sales technique, I'll tell you right now, is standing on the shop floor on the production line with the people who are struggling to do their day-to-day work without realizing there's a better way, and I can get them bought into what that better way is going to look like, and they can visualize it on their shop floor, in their production office, in the invoicing office, if I can get people to buy into that and get their people to buy into it, I've got a sale.
So, I like that little aspect of it. You switched it around and said that you don't like that, which it's true. So many people are so used to Zoom calls about these stupid products. And
Right.
they're like that if you take the time and travel to the client and meet them at their front door,
Yeah.
you have a much better chance of a sale than you do if you're just like, can you have 5 minutes for a Zoom call? I want to show you this PowerPoint. Well, you can show them the PowerPoint, but are they really going to buy into something when you're like on a sketchy, messed up Zoom call?
Right.
Whereas you travel to them, you meet them, you see what they're doing, you see their day to day, and you're like, hey, this is what we are offering. And I think that's great. I think that's a really awesome thing you do. You travel to the client, you meet them at where they're at, and that makes a sale in and of itself because the personality, being personal with the client is
Yeah.
perfect. Car salesmen are so pushy about what they do. And yeah, you get to meet them face to face, but there's sometimes being in someone's face is pushy. But when someone's really wanting to, like, if you, the way you say it sound, you go and you want them to show them, you want them to show you what they do day to day. You're not pushing them into a sale. You're asking them, what do you do? What do you need? And you offer them something that'll help that grow their business. So I think that's really great. Nick, we have a few minutes left in the show. Let's talk about growing and scaling companies. When you offer this product, do you check in periodically to check and see to make sure that they're using the product correctly, that their company is growing at the rate it should be growing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're part of the ecosystem. As I said earlier, whenever we engage with a client, we work with them as if we're going to be with them for the next 20 years,
Yeah,
because that's exactly what we want to do, right? We want to grow and scale as our customers grow and scale. Quite frankly, if our customers aren't growing and scaling, okay, then we haven't done our job properly. Okay, so
yeah,
we are absolutely, I would say, emotionally invested in their success, right? This is not a technology pitch, right? This is not a selling another license for Salesforce,
yeah,
right? This is not what we do, right? We're really excited to see what our clients are going to do to the universe, right? That
yeah.
sounds really grand, right? But we want to see what they can do next, right? And we want to be part of that and helping them to drive towards that. So yeah, for us, this has never been about a one and done exercise, and that's a horrible transactional way of doing
Yeah.
business. And I certainly don't like doing business that way.
Yeah, no, and honestly, when you push a licensing key on someone and then just like let them go and let them be,
Yeah,
what does that tell you as like, as a salesman? You're just another salesman. And
yeah,
the world's full of salesmen. But when you're a more personal person, like we were talking about, you going and meeting the client, you spending time, you looking at them as a long-term client, looking at that and having that connection, really builds trust in who you're working with. And you wanting to democratize the Salesforce industry, just having that personal connection puts you ahead of everybody else because everybody else is just trying to make a sale. Everybody else is
right.
just trying to get ahead of the game by making those sales, but are they really trying to connect with the client? And we can talk about client connection real quick. When you want to connect with a client, you take them out to dinner, you show them the product, but you also, like you do, go and meet them and say, hey, this is
Yeah,
this is great what you're doing here, but I want to make it better. I want to see your business grow beyond these walls, and
yeah,
and maybe have another location or this and that, and expanding growth and even scaling businesses, doesn't come with one person. It comes with multiple people. And having someone who looks out for you and wants to see that grow is something you're doing. And I see you doing that. That's awesome. Um, we have a few seconds left. Let's talk about stuff you did in the past. So what made you get into this industry? Why did you get into ERP industry? It sounds like you've been through a lot of different companies and stuff. What made you jump into democratizing the system?
yeah. I think really, it was born out of frustration.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I've been involved in some big ERP implementations in the past, both as a customer, but also as a consultant. And one of the things that always frustrated me, quite frankly, is that it was always just a one-off project, and it
Yeah.
was always felt like it was being done to you, right? And despite you, as a customer, right? That's what it kind of felt like, right? And it was really, really frustrating experience. And there had to be a better way of doing this.
Mhm.
And so coming at it from a customer perspective, but also coming at it from a very heavy operations background, means that, yeah, I'm a technology nerd and I'm as good as anyone else on that
Yeah.
side. But being able to put the whole thing together is just really, really important. So this for me is growing and scaling businesses that I wouldn't necessarily be involved in outside of the space, which is something I love doing.
Yeah. Well, I see you have a pretty impressive bio. You worked at places like, different places like Amazon stuff. And it's like, I've heard it all the same. It's like, there's frustrating things at each company. Everybody who I've interviewed who worked at big companies and they left to do their own thing has the same story. Like there was something frustrating them that they needed to democratize, something about the system, something that always settles they need to settle somewhere else. And hearing the fact that there was frustration with the systems and that you were implementing and people were implementing on you, it is frustrating because I work in my parents' business, and there's like we were trying to implement a a data system for supplies. And all these companies, all these salesmen, because I reached out to a couple of them, oh, we're trying to sell me this product. Oh, we're like pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And one person reached out to us and was like, look, I got this product. Let me demo it for you. Let me show you what it can do. No one wanted to demo it. They just wanted to sell us a license right then and
Yeah.
there. Here's the license. Here you go. And he demoed it for us, and it was a great product. We were really interested. But then he sent us the cost price. And this is used in laboratories all over the country. It was 20 grand a year. And we have that kind of budget, but we didn't feel as a company, and my family, we all discussed this, and the finance discussed this with me. It wasn't as a whole, we didn't think $20,000 a year was very for the software, and the software how it was worked was very viable. And then another company came to us with another product, and it was so much cheaper. We ended up going with them. He did all the right things, but it ultimately came down to price. And I think that's really cool that Odoo has changed their pricing to ultimately
Yeah.
serve their clients better. Because when you think about it, I could have bought into that software. It would have been great if the price would have been right. If say like $10,000 cheaper, that would have been great. But at the end of the day, you look at the price is what matters. And if you got a product that you really want to sell, make it affordable to clients.
Yeah.
Because if you're only serving the higher end businesses, but not the lower end businesses, where are you getting? Because like, what you said, you want the clients to be long term. Well, if they're gonna be long term, you want that pricing to match their budget. So I definitely think, with having Odoo changing their prices to making it more affordable is a very good thing. And actually, it's funny. I keep thinking, I was like, I think I actually looked up Odoo at one point for a personal reason or something, because I have an email. I remember getting email from Odoo, and I don't remember why I have this. It's in my inbox or something, but I remember we were looking at different solutions for my business and stuff, and my marketing business and my IT business. And my girlfriend and me were looking at different solutions, and I remember Odoo, I think, was one of the ones we looked at. I don't remember why. I'm gonna have to go through my emails, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
swear, I think, because when I saw the name on your site, I was like, I swear I've looked them up. So,
Yeah.
but I know that I remember that looking them up. I'm pretty sure they were the ones I looked up that I was really interested in. And for $50 a month, you can't beat that price.
No.
And I'm thinking, if I ever do need something for that, I might be like, hey, Nick, let's talk some money.
Yeah.
Let's make a deal happen.
Hit me
Because
up.
I know my companies, they're with all the climate and stuff, with the everything changing, it's been a struggle. But I know that when I'm getting back on my feet, I'm trying to do my side business. I'm working for my family full time. I want to make the sales. I want to see growth. And it's very hard though to see growth when you're trying to, like you said, manage all these passwords and manage
Right.
all these
Yeah.
documents and do all that stuff. And it's
Yeah.
so hard. So, one of the things I think is great is like places like Odoo and the companies like you working with clients, and you have a great team behind you. So, that's the benefit of having some, I guess, another team help you get on board. I could
Right.
just get Odoo myself,
Of
but when
course.
you have someone else, show you the ropes and give you the tools, that's, I think, a better
Yeah.
personal experience than just jumping in and be like, oh, this is overwhelming, and you have
Right.
someone show you.
I'll
Um,
tell you, we one of the things we do is we do audits of people who already
I
have.
saw that. I saw that. What does that mean? Real quick, we
Yeah.
have a few minutes. What does an audit mean?
Yeah, so what it does is so people who already have Odoo, okay,
Okay.
maybe with another partner or they've done it themselves, and and what we do is we come in and we do a full audit. We look at master data, we look at
Mhm,
the features, how many features you're using,
mhm.
usage patterns, user training, security. We look at custom code that you might have in there, and then we give you a report at the end that says, okay, across all those different areas, here's a score of where we think your Odoo is against best
Okay.
practice. Well, one of those scores, right, is around feature usage. Okay, so how what you're paying for versus what you're using. Our average score for all the audits we've done is just under 30%.
Wow.
So even when people are paying for something, they're really only using less than 30% of what they're actually got. And you know why that is? It's not because they're choosing not to use it. It's because they don't even know it's there, right? And it can do it, right? So the beauty of having someone like us is we can come in and say, hey, do you have this business problem? You do? Oh, yeah, you do have that problem. Guess what? Odoo can do that for you. You got to switch this on, turn that on, put the data here, operate in this way, use this process to train these people, right? Off you go, right?
Yep.
And we see that usage jump up significantly when you're engaged with a partner like us, because we can show you things that you don't even know are even there. And as you say, $50 a month, right? And if you're only using 30% of it, imagine $50 a month when you're starting to use close to 100% of the features. It's way
You
better
get the
value.
full potential out of the
Yeah,
software. Yeah. Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming on. It's such an honor. For those listening, Nick's information and all his links to his site and anybody who wants to get connected will be on our website at www.ittechtalkpodcast.com. You can see his the show. You can actually watch it on the video section. You'll be able to listen to it on this website as well as find links to where to listen to if you have a preferred listening platform. But Nick, thanks again for coming on.
thank you. It's been
Thank
great.
you. It's been great. Awesome. Thank you.